everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel. I am here today with a whip parade and I think that I got everything ready so that there won't be any like shuffling around in bags. And I pulled out all of my whips that are in this pile here, ready to show. So let's get going. I am going to start off by saying that for all of my whips, I will be inserting a picture to show what they will look like when they're finished, whenever that happens, because I just keep starting new things. And I will be going from oldest whip to newest whip because that is just the way that it's listed in front of me. So that's what we're doing. Let's get started. So my first whip is my very old whip from September of 2012, back when I first got into full coverage cross stitch and learned how to kit things up myself. This was my very first one. It was a Heaven and Earth Designs chart called Tarot Town 2 by Ciro Marchetti, and here is where it is. I don't know, I can't even get the whole thing probably in one shot. I started this, like I said, in 2012. I didn't know anything about kitting things up myself, and I just went off of other people's recommendations. I saw other people recommend 22 count, and so I was just like, I'll just get 22 count. I don't love 22 count, and so that's probably one of the reasons why this chart is not that very far down. It's almost been 10 years since I've been stitching on this, and yeah, there's still so much that needs to be done. But yeah, I started it 2/1 full cross. It's very thick. I'm not a fan of how thick it is. And at the bottom, when I was stitching the black, I actually ended up switching to tent stitch, where I'm using 4 strands of black because black has not very good coverage. And then for other colors, I was planning on using 3 strands. But I am almost slightly tempted to have this as a restart on 28 count. But my thing that I'm thinking is if I were to restart it, I would not stitch all of the sky and background. I was thinking about possibly dyeing a piece of fabric where the top would be the blue, having like some purples because there's like a purple sky area in it, and then at the bottom it turns to like a yellow orange. So I was thinking about possibly dyeing a piece of 28 count, not stitching the background, and then basically stitching the castle, the towers, and then like that, and then probably the trees too, because I really like the black trees at the bottom. But then I wouldn't have to stitch all the background. I could do tent stitch because I love 2/1 tent stitch on 28 count. But yeah, so that's a possibility because like I said, 22 count is not a fabric that I would ever use again for myself, but I didn't know that at the time. So, you know, you learn as you have been in the hobby long enough. So there's that first one. My next whip is Mini Home is Where the Magic Is. It's artwork by Randall Spangler, charted by Hayde, and I started this on January 1st, 2018 for a new year, new start, and my sister also started it and she is finished. I am not, and I am stitching this on 28 count 2/1 tent stitch. And like I said, I love tent stitch way more. Most of my projects are on 28 count tent stitch. So yeah, there's that. I would like to get it done soon. I think there's 17,000 stitches left. So I have worked on it since the last time that you saw it, but I don't think I showed it in my updates because I forgot to. But yeah, so I have worked on it. It is getting closer to finished. Hopefully it will be finished one day and I can get it hanging up. So my third whip is Templar Prophecy by Long Dog Sampler. I started this September 4th, 2019. I think I did it for like a sampler September thing. Plus, I started my very first long dog, which was Death by Cross Stitch, in a September, whatever year that was. I don't have that with me. And so September is kind of like a time when I like to start a long dog. So I'm maybe thinking of starting a sampler for September of this year, which is coming up, but I don't know. We'll see. So here is my Templar Prophecy. It is on 22 count, which, yes, hate 22 count. We'll never ever be using it again. I tried this one using 1 strand of floss and I don't like it because it ends up slipping underneath the fabric. So my stitches on this are not perfect. Like, I'm just gonna have to accept that the stitches sometimes are gonna be kind of wonky because they just go right under the threads of the fabric. But it is what it is, and like I've talked about this in my last update video, and I love this fabric, so I don't want to restart. And so it's just, it is what it is. This is DMC 666, and I love it. So that was Templar Prophecy. Number 4 is Game of Thrones by Tilton Crafts. It's a chart that is no longer available, and I started it October of 2019. So here's that. I'm stitching this on 28 count 1/1 full cross, and I'm stitching it diagonally using Pattern Keeper to make my diagonal lines. But then obviously I kind of left the diagonal because I wanted to get to Littlefinger's face, just because I wanted to see what his face would look like, because sometimes skin tones in charts kind of end up blotchy, and so I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be blotchy. I like the way it turned out, so I will continue going, but there's that. Number 5 is Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a chart from Etsy. I don't know the Etsy store name still because for some reason I still have not written it down in my notebook, and I started this in, where was that? October of 2019. Apparently I started a lot of things in 2019 at the end of the year. So here is Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm stitching this on 22 count because I didn't realize then that I just hate 22 count, using fabric that I dyed myself. And I am using 2 strands because black is, the coverage isn't great with 1 strand. There's that. So Nightmare Before Christmas. Number 6 is Sailor Moon, which is from Tilton Crafts, artwork by Daniel Kordek. I started in November of 2019, and I am stitching this on 28 count 2/1 tent stitch, and this was the first chart that is a full coverage where I decided to start in the middle because this was when Pattern Keeper came out, I think. So I decided I wanted to be able to start not in the background because the background of charts is boring a lot of the time, so I started right smack dab in the middle where Sailor Moon is. And I think on this chart I will be cutting out some of the background because there's a lot of space above and at the bottom where there's not any like feet or heads or anything that can just be cut out without ruining the picture, and yeah, save me some time because I have so many charts that I don't need to stitch a bunch of background that doesn't need to be there. So there's Sailor Moon. Number 7 is Dear Alice, which is by Artisy. I started this in November of 2019, and here is where I am. I am working on this right now to get it to 5%. I'm calling the little like thing where I'm trying to get all of my whips that are under 5% to 5%. Hashtag no whip left behind. We all start the whips and just put them in a box after we start them, and they just kind of sit there because we want to finish other things that are closer to being finished. And then all our barely starts, which I also call BS, barely starts, just sit there behind. So no whip left behind. I'm trying to get this one to 5%. It is at like 3.7%. And I'm stitching this on 18 count 2/1 full cross. One of the few that I'm doing full cross. There's that. Number 8 is Kita, which is charted from Pinky the Pink. She has a store on Etsy, but she also has a website called makeitpink.net. I think she's trying to get away from Etsy because Etsy has a lot more fees and stuff, so making your own website is usually better in terms of that. And I started that in November of 2019. And here is where Kita is. I dyed this fabric myself, and I'm stitching it 28 count 2/2 full cross. So I love the charts that she makes because they use blends, like a lot of blends, and so there's just like seamless transitions in like the dresses, and it's just beautiful. And there's so much detail that goes into it because there's going to be a lot of different colors. Like I hate DMC metallics, but they look so pretty when they're stitched. And then there's like a ton of beads and backstitch that go into these that make them look amazing. If you see anyone who has like finished them, they are amazing. They take a lot of time, but it's worth it. Number 9 is Rainbow Basin. It's artwork by Emperor Pep, charted by Tilton Crafts, and I started this February 6th of 2020. Oh god, we're into 2020s. What a year. Jeez. So this is where I am on that. I am stitching this on 36 count 1/1 tent stitch just because I wanted to see what tent stitch would be like on 36 count because I hadn't really seen anyone stitching. I've seen people stitch full coverages on 32 count, but for me 32 count was either too thick with 2 strands, but it wasn't enough coverage with 1 strand, so I decided to try 36. And The coverage is good. It's hard to see, I mean, but yeah, so there's that. Number 10 is Lunar Princess Stitch Along by Sleeping Luna Designs on Etsy. And I did not write it down when I started this, so I started it sometime in 2020, and here's where it is. This is a chart, and I'm making a change to it. In the middle, there is supposed to be like a big rose and a moon, and I decided I wanted to put in Serenity and Endymion, so I found a chart on Etsy. I can't remember the seller, but I'll have it linked down below, and I will be putting that Serenity and Endymion into the middle, and it will look hopefully good. This is 28 count that I dyed myself, and I'm stitching 2 over 2 full cross on this. And there's that. Number 11 is Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler, started July 5th of 2020. I got this chart when it was free, but now you have to pay for it. And here's where I am on that. I wanted to do a long dog using multiple colors, so I figured this one would be a good one to try, and I just kind of grabbed one DMC color from each family, so I have like a red, a blue, green, purple, orange, and a yellow, and then I'm just kind of sticking them wherever. I think that I'll mostly use this color that's like the border color is DMC 154, which is kind of like that dark reddy purpley color, and I'm probably going to use that color for a lot of the like diagonals and stuff, like because diagonals are hard when you're using multiple colors to figure out like where do I end this diagonal and change the color for this other one. So I think a lot of them will probably end up being my border color just to make it easier for me, because sometimes it's really hard when you're looking at the chart, like what color do I use here and where does it end, because sometimes the stuff just like runs together. Yeah, so there's that. Oh, and this is 16 count Aida, I think, or 18. It's either 16 or 18 count Aida, 2 over 1 full cross, because I actually like Aida for my samplers. So next chart is number 12, Heaven on Earth 2. It's my first chart that I got from Charting Creations, and I started it at the end of July 2020 because I got this around my birthday last year. And here it is. I wanted another Christmas chart because I had finished the toy box like in what year did I finish the toy box? I don't even remember. I just needed another Christmas chart because I wasn't stitching one, and I love Christmas, and so I'm stitching this one on 28 count 2 over 1 tent stitch, and I am using a combination of CXC threads with DMC, and yeah, because I wanted to test out CXC, so this was the first one that I started with CXC, and I like it. It's good. Number 13 is Zelda and Link from the Etsy shop Unique Door Sign. I started it in July of 2020, and here's where it is now. I want to get this finished this year now that the outlines are done. I am stitching this on 40 count 1 over 2 full cross. I don't really love 40 counts. It's not. It hurts my eyes. Like, I mean, I wear glasses. I normally wear contacts. My eyes are not amazing. And so yeah. I think that's it though for that. Hopefully I get it finished this year. And then number 14, Kingdom Hearts, which was from the Etsy shop Cross Stitch Salon. That website is her Etsy shop is no longer available. She now has a shop called Needle Minder Lair. I think the Kingdom Hearts chart is still on there, but some of her other charts are not on there anymore. And I started this one in August of 2020, and it's going to end up being a restart, and I will show why, because I had a dye lot issue. So here's where I was on the chart. I obviously cut it and used the fabric for something else because I got mad because there was a dye lot issue. You can see here. So this is all supposed to be 995. There's like a line here, and this whole area ended up being darker. It bugged me. I hated it. I was stitching this on 18 count 2 over 1 full cross, and yeah, the dye lot issue just made me really mad. I was at first gonna just keep going and just like not let it bother me, but it bothered me every time I pulled it out, and so I decided that I will stitch it on blue fabric and not stitch the DMC 995, and I will also be doing it on 28 count 2 over 1 tent stitch because that will go faster. So I dyed some fabric, and this will be a restart at some point, and hopefully it will go a lot faster because tent stitch is way faster, and then I won't be so angry because this made me so mad when I saw the dye loss. I was just like, well, just wasted my time. And I thought about unpicking it, but I hate frogging. I would rather just restart than to frog because it was a lot of stitches. It was like that whole section there was just all wrong. And I also wasn't even sure because I pulled out a few different skeins of 995 and they all looked kind of slightly different. So I was like, they all look different. None of them look the same. What do I do? So yeah, that's number 15 is what I'm calling my sprite sampler. So last year I discovered, okay, it's not like a new thing. People have been on there for a long time. The website, what's it called? Now I can't remember the name of the website. I need to turn on my laptop. We'll pause for a minute while I look it up. Okay, the website, Sprite Stitch. It's not hard, I should have been able to figure it out. So Sprite Stitch, it's a website and they have like a little message board forum where people can request charts, people make charts, they post the charts, and it's for like video games and popular movies, TV shows, those types of things. So I found a whole bunch of charts on there that I liked that were like video game, anime, just all sorts of a range of charts. And a lot of them were smaller. I don't really like finishing things, so I decided I would put a bunch of small things onto one piece of fabric so that it's only one thing to eventually get finished because, okay, this bag here has like all of my finishes. I don't have anything actually really framed, so this has 2 long dogs in here, Death by Cross Stitch, Castles in the Air. It has my Hade finish. It has one of my Christmas Tiny Modernist finishes. This has like everything. It has my Mirabilia finish. All of my finishes are in a bag. I don't like finishing things, so I decided to put on all on one fabric, not have to deal with finishing things. And yeah, so here's where I am on my sprite sampler. Right now it just has characters from Bleach, which is an anime, and this is I think 16 or 18 count fabric. I think 2 over 1 full cross. And then my plan is that right here is going to be Sailor Venus, and then there is going to be a chocobo and just a whole bunch of other things. I have a whole bunch of charts that I like saved from the website that I can put onto here, and then one day it will just be magical. I don't know when that day will be. I need to start working on this more and make more progress. I also want to put like keyblades from Kingdom Hearts. I haven't talked about that yet in this video, but I had an update video where I was talking about Kingdom Hearts and the Keyblades. And I also want to have stuff from like The World Ends With You, which is a video game that came out 14 years ago. This sequel just came out recently, and like there's like little pins that are in that game, and there was some cross-stitch charts where someone made a bunch of the pins, so I was going to put those as like kind of like dividers in between like different sections. And yeah, so this I'm hoping one day will be amazing, but I need to work on it obviously. So there is that, number 16, Autumn Harmony by Maxine Gadd. Her artwork, you can get it on Imaginarium Cross Stitch, and I started this September of 2020. So here's Autumn Harmony. I am stitching this on 18 count 2 over 1 full cross. I am stitching this 18 count 2 over 1 full cross because my sister is also stitching this chart, but she is stitching the retired Hade version, and she is stitching hers on 18 count, so we want to be able to compare the versions. So we wanted them to be the same size. So when you're ordering the charts from Maxine Gadd, you can pick which size, like how with a stitch count for the chart, and you can pick the amount of colors. So I picked a size that was similar to the Hade version, and then I also picked the 100 color option, which the Hade uses like 90-ish colors or something. So they both have similar colors, they're similar dimensions, and then we can see the differences. So yeah. So there's mine. My sister is way farther than me though, and so yeah, I just need to catch up one day. So Autumn Harmony, number 17 is Santa's Workshop, which is artwork by Thomas Kincaid, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Started November 2020, and this is a chart that kind of has me annoyed. So here's where I am on the chart. I started in the bottom right corner with this little elf. I'm stitching this on 28 count, easy count, 2 over 1 full cross. And this chart used a lot of DMC 08 and 09, which was replaced with 310 and like 779 or something. The 310 made the chart really, really dark because there was like thousands of stitches that were then replaced with black. So I am trying to figure out, using the original chart with the 08 and 09, which colors would be best to go in which section of the chart. So like, should it be like a lighter brown and not black? Like trying to figure all that. I don't know. And so yeah, it's something where I love the artwork. I am not sure about stitching the chart though with the way that it is right now. So yeah, I'm using Pattern Keeper to, like I said, to try and kind of like replace colors as I see that they need to be changed, because even this bottom corner is like a lot darker. You can kind of tell by the elf. The elf is not supposed to be that dark or orange. He looks spray tanned compared to the original artwork. So haven't stitched on it since I started it, basically because I'm not really sure what I'm doing with this one yet. So there was that. Then number 18 is Mariner by Maxine Gadd. Started November of 2020. Oh, and also Santa's Workshop is the color expansion, because this one comes with a whole bunch of options. There's regular size, regular size color expansion, regular size max color, and then obviously super size things, which I am not into. So this was the regular size color expansion. So 18 is Mariner by Maxine Gadd. Started November of 2020, and she is so wrinkly. Okay, this is 28 count, easy count, 2/1 full cross. And she is underneath 5%, so she'll be pulled out hopefully soon to get her to at least the 5% mark. And I love her so much. So she is beautiful. Like I mentioned before, I think it was in this video, I'm filming 2 videos today, so I don't remember what I said in this video and the previous, but the skin tone isn't like blotchy at all. Like sometimes you can get like weird spots where there's like an unblended section in the skin that just looks off, but it like there's not any of that. It blends very well, and so it's like I'm very happy about that. She is amazing. So there's that. Number 19 is Sun and Stars by Tilton Crafts. This is also a discontinued chart. I obviously got it because Khal Drogo, it's a thing, and I started this April 18th of 2021 because it was Game of Thrones, the show, not the book's 10-year anniversary. So I started that, and this is 28 count, 2/1 10 stitch, and I'm kind of not sure what I'm going to do with this chart. So the mock-up on Pattern Keeper looks kind of off, and there's another website called Threadbare where you can put in your chart and it will show you a mock-up, and there is a section that looks off. Ah, my foot's falling asleep. I'll insert pictures of like what the mock-ups looked like. And so Khal Drogo, there's like a really weird spot on his skin on his neck where it's like really light, and so I'm thinking that I might stitch over to his like neck ear area, see how that looks, and then decide if I will keep stitching this chart or not, because if a chart isn't going to stitch up accurately, it's like I don't really want to waste my time on it, you know. So we will see what happens with that. And so number 20 is Mayera Salome, which is artwork by Nene Thomas, and she charts her own charts now, so her artwork is available on her cross stitch charts are available on her website. And I started this for Mania this year. I'm not sure, this is I think 27 count, 2/1 10 stitch, and I love this chart. So this chart, I decided to start from the middle of the top row, and I love it. It's beautiful. And I will be working on this to get this one to 5% too, because this is what I meant when I start charts and then I don't get very far on them and then they get put away. So number 21 is Opening Gambit by Long Dog Samplers. I started this in Mania 2, and I am stitching this on 18 count on an opalescent fabric using Silks For You. That was a natural color that I dyed myself, and I am doing it 1/1 full cross. So there's that. I love. And then number 22 is the Alice in Wonderland Stitch Along from Owl Forest Embroidery. Here's where I am. The part 8 just came out yesterday. Part 8 is down here. But I am behind So I need to do this bottom corner to catch up. And then I changed the pattern and I added a keyblade, which is from the video game Kingdom Hearts. In Kingdom Hearts, there is a Alice in Wonderland world, and in that world, the keyblade that you can get is called Lady Luck. So I put in the Lady Luck keyblade, and I dyed this fabric myself. It's 18 count. I am using sulky threads, 1/1 full cross, with a couple of Karen water lilies that I had left over from my Alice Mirabilia. So the water lilies is called, I think, Cherries, and it's this red, but it also has some like brown in it. So the red, I used the Karen water lilies here for the rabbit coat, but then I also did like fussy cutting, and then I was able to get like brown sections that I used for the skin tone for Alice. And I think that's the only time that I used that. Yes. Okay, so there's that. And then that can go away. Number 23 is Snow Cherries, which is by Maxine Gadd, I think. I didn't write that down. And I barely started this. This is definitely a BS barely start. And I am only not even 1%. So this is going to be pulled out for probably a while whenever I get to it for my No WIP Left Behind. And I'm stitching this on, I think, 27 count Linda 2/1 10th stitch. Yeah. Got like nothing done on it, so there's not much to show. Number 24 is Crystal Palace, which is from Mandarinx Designs on Etsy, but her Etsy shop is not available, and she is working on a website that I think I saw that it might be up in September, but I'm not sure. And it's a Sailor Moon-ish chart. There it is. This is fabric that I dyed myself. It's 18 count. This is actually a piece that was from my Kingdom Hearts fabric where I cut it off when the dye lot issue, and then I dyed it this neon yellow because, like I said, I was super mad about Kingdom Hearts. So I was like, I'm just gonna dye this fabric because I love dyeing fabric. It will make me happy, and I won't be as annoyed that I just had to cut Riku's face apart. So yeah, there's this. This is, I'm doing it 2/1 full cross. And I'm going to backstitch as I go because I don't really like saving all the backstitch for last. So there is some backstitch already in it, and it's pretty. So I am almost done. Number 25 is Sanctuary, which is a chart by, it's artwork by Sheila Wolk, I think, charted from Charting Creations. And there is my little mania start on that, which is, it's only at 1.26%. So yeah, this will also need to come out, so it's not a barely start anymore. This is easy count 2/1 10th stitch. And that is my last WIP to show. There's one more that I'm going to give like kind of like an honorable mention to, but I'm not really counting as a WIP because I don't really plan on pulling it out and ever finishing it. It was more of like an experiment that's gone wrong. So this is Quick Stitch Kirby by Heaven and Earth Designs. This was the chart that had the DMC dye lot, or not dye lot, okay. There's some explanation. So this is the chart where DMC 29, a lot of people I've seen mention in like the Hate group and on like there's a Reddit cross stitch group, and I've seen people mention having issues with DMC 29, and I've seen people mention it in the Possibilities, which is the Evolutions chart. And then I can't remember the other charts, but there were some other charts that have used 29 where people have asked about it in the Hate group on Facebook and stuff. So I wanted to know, because this came up after the 08-09 issue last year, what the deal was. So it's supposed to be a dark purple. This is DMC 29. It's not a dark purple. I'll insert what it's supposed to look like. I decided to try stitching it with DMC 550 to see if that was better. It's kind of better, but it's still not great, so I don't really know if there is a purple that even is close to what it's supposed to be. I know someone had mentioned looking at Anchor and seeing if Anchor has anything in purple that would work, but I don't really feel like wasting my time kind of trying to figure out the best color. And I emailed Michelle from Hate about it, and she said that it was a dye lot thing and that I should try DMC 3887, which is this color, which is not dark at all because it's supposed to be a dark purple there. And also 3887 is one of those DMC colors that you can't really find anymore. It was sold in a special edition pack of like all these colors, and it's not available anymore. If you find it somewhere, it most likely isn't the right pack because DMC made a new pack with different colors and they've discontinued the 3880 to 3895. So they're not available and it's still not even the right color. So yeah, here's what it is. She recommended it should be this, and that looks very off when I put it into Pattern Keeper. So yeah, I don't know what color to do there. So I just kind of, I'll keep this for now to see what I want to do with it. But I'm not really keeping it on my WIP list because it also has DMC 32, which I've seen other people say could be an issue, but I didn't really want to just keep wasting time on colors that could be wrong. So thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you are new watching this, I hope that you liked some of the WIPs, and if you are returning, thank you for returning, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.